This is Robert Harper with Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division. Glad to bring you the Merchandiser Minute for Friday, February the 28th, 2020. It was great to see so many of you today out at the Products Division warehouse in Sandston for the Farm Bureau open house. It was great to have lunch and see some of you all, and in a big week for Virginia Farm Bureau Federation as we celebrated our 94th birthday this week. Just would like to start off today. We've all been buried in the news this week with the risk-off mentality just across the board in financial markets and commodity markets around the world. And we just want to take a few minutes and give an optimistic perspective on a few things. One thing we can all be reminded of is we're flipping the calendar over to March. We get an extra day this year with leap year, but as we flip that calendar over to March, we know a lot of field work is ahead of us. Spring planting is right around the corner, and you, the producer, you've got a lot to focus on in that area, on all the agronomy, on all the prescriptions that y'all have to write for your field. So just really glad to remind us all that spring's right around the corner and the days are getting longer, and we got a lot of work to get in front of us and to get done. We did hear a few stories this week amid all of the negative stories about the sell-offs in the equity markets and in the commodities that were positive and have some potential to be positive to price. China's top container ports said this week multiple times that they're getting through the backlog of anchored ships waiting to get to their docks. We had one quote from a large Chinese port authority spokesman this week that came across our desk saying that the turning point has arrived. We also saw this week one U.S. poultry processor state that they have gotten all of their vessels unloaded at Chinese ports, and that as they're shipping poultry to China, that they got word to send more. So that's positive. We did see negative news for Argentina agriculture that might have a positive impact on price down the road for us here. Again, their ag ministry this week, maybe the only day this week that coronavirus didn't top the headlines in ag media. We saw the Argentina's ag ministry announced that they were suspending registrations for all ag exports until the end of the month. That prohibited their grain exporters from making new deals. We know that their economy is, by most measures, in recession, and that the government is doing some things to stop that process from getting worse, and we'll just have to wait next week to see if they do raise the export tax on their own domestically produced soybeans. We also saw today, we know the Commodity Classic is going on. A lot of you are gathered out there for that great fellowship and learning opportunity. We saw USDA Secretary Sonny Perdue say that the USDA is granting $100 million in cost share grants for fuel station infrastructure improvements. This process is going to begin, and it's going to help fuel stations and their owners all across the United States put in the infrastructure needed to offer higher ethanol blend products. So that's positive as well. And when we saw the kind of really 15% corrections in world equity markets, world stock markets, we're thankful that we didn't see more losses in the commodity markets. Let's take a look at the week here today. May corn closed down 12 cents for the week at $3.68 a bushel. I know that we did see life of contract lows in corn this week. Corn down 12 for the week at $3.68. May soybean futures down 4 cents on the week at $8.92. And July wheat, your new crop wheat futures in Chicago closed at $5.25, down a disappointing 26 cents a bushel for the week. We know the sentiment this week has been fear. When fear gets in the market, we know what the speculators do. They sell, and we can hope they're going to find a bottom very soon, or that maybe they found it already, and we'll get buying interest back into the markets. A quick look at USDA numbers, export inspections this week, what was loaded out. Corn came in and wheat came in as expected. Soybeans came in below expectations on bushels that left our ports this week. When we look at the export sales report this week, we saw corn came in above expectation, a very good corn export sales. Japan and Mexico were our top customers. Beans did come in below expectation. There was a small Chinese purchase as well. Japan topped the list this week for bean purchases, and wheat came in below expectation. We just received the weekly commitment of traders report, February 28th. We still have a long position by the managed money speculator in Chicago, 41,000 futures contracts long. We do have short positions both for corn and beans. Corn short position, 95,000 and some futures contracts, and the bean position short for the managed money speculator at 75,000 futures contracts, and that is a large short position for that managed money speculator this time of year. We wrapped up February. We've gotten out of the March futures. We're all on May futures next week, but as you know, we did determine the spring projected price this month for crop insurance. I don't have the numbers with today's closing prices worked in, but if you do the whole month up till yesterday, December corn averaged $3.89, and January 2021 beans averaged $9.22. We'll definitely see those exact numbers with today's average worked into the monthly average soon, but I wanted to give you a heads up for that. Remember, next week, part of the uncertainty that we've got in the marketplace is revolving around the presidential election. That's nothing new. That happens every 4 years. We do have Super Tuesday on March the 3rd, and I think if I've got it right, just over a third of the delegates for the Democratic National Convention are going to be up for grabs in those state primaries. We want to keep our optimism high for this Phase 1 trade deal. We know China did say that they will be allowing their companies to apply for tariff waivers starting March the 2nd. That's Monday. That's a big deal where those companies there are going to be able to get the tariffs waived, and that has the potential and the reality to make our bushels very competitive going overseas to China. So remember, we've got a really positive basis situation here in Virginia right now for corn and for soybeans. Let's try to capture that. Stay disciplined in your marketing when things are tough like they were this week. Sell early and sell often, and give us a call if we can help you. This is Robert at Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division.